Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. So in this one here, I want to talk about the season 10 finale because we got sort of a teaser that not everyone's going to be making it out alive. And obviously, we've all predicted for a while now that not everyone's going to make it out of the finale, and we have a few choices as to who. But I also want to talk about that and talk about the possibility of no one dying at all. Could that happen, and how would fans feel about that? I want to go into that and then just talk about the season 10 finale in general. So before we jump in, obviously I do have to warn you for spoilers for episodes 1 to 15 of season 10. Also, if you're new to the channel and you want more Walking Dead content like this, just make sure to be a subscriber. And if you're interested in following me on Instagram, we're almost at 2,000 followers. It's just at MusicMan on Terror Street. Before we get into the video, I do want to let you guys know that Jeffrey Dean Morgan is actually hosting this new show. I think it's airing this Friday. It's Friday night at, I think it's like 10 p.m. Eastern. It's called Friday Night In with the Morgans or something like that. It has to do with him and his wife. They're talking with their celebrity friends and all of that. I guess it's over Skype or however people are doing it now. I most likely will check out the show, and if Jeffrey Dean Morgan does say anything about The Walking Dead, I'll do a video on it. It should be airing every Friday. I'm not exactly sure for how long. Obviously, it's like a limited series type of thing, I think. I don't know how long they're planning on doing this, but I'm sure he will talk about The Walking Dead a little bit and talk about the season 10 finale or just his experience filming this season and what to expect for the finale. I'm sure not a lot, but you never know where the conversation's going to go, right? Someone might ask him, like, oh, I heard your show was put on pause or delayed. And then he might just be like, yeah, you know, it sucks. And then he'll just kind of go into like what to expect and like, yeah, I'm so excited for people to see this. And, you know, so he could give us something potentially. I have no idea. But anyways, for fans of Jeffrey Dean Morgan, for the character of Negan and all that, there's that. So the big thing that I do want to talk about, though, obviously, is the producer for The Walking Dead, Denise Huth. She did an interview, I think it was on Talking Dead or something like that. I got the article here from comicbook.com, and she says that maybe not everyone survives The Walking Dead season 10 finale, or at least that's the headline here for this article. But what she actually said was that maybe not everyone is going to get out alive. So I want to talk about that because I've been getting a lot of, I guess ever since episode 15 aired, one of those comments that I keep seeing is like, who do you think is going to die and how many deaths are there going to be? It's surrounding this finale a lot. I will say overall, since episode 15 aired, there's this mixed excitement for the finale and for season 11. It's very weird because by now we should have already had it, right? The finale would have aired 2 days ago already, and we'd all be talking about season 11. And since that's not the case, we're stuck in this weird place where it's like we left on a cliffhanger. It's hilarious because the season was supposed to end on a cliffhanger, and I'm sure it was going to wrap up a bunch of stuff though, so it's going to end on a cliffhanger, most likely in a good way. But because of how much this has been delayed, we ended up on a really bad cliffhanger. But it's different though, because obviously of the circumstances surrounding why they had to postpone this, no one's really mad about it. Like, not mad like the Negan thing. Like the Negan cliffhanger was insane. The hate going around then, that was crazy. This is nowhere near that, and it's not even, I don't even want to say no one's mad about it. People are just, I think, mostly upset. And so we're just like in this state of, we're still in season 10, right? Because usually whenever a season ends, you get into this mindset of, okay, what's happening for the next season? And then you kind of pay attention to the news a little bit, to filming things and just what people have to say. And you get the trailer in the summer and you're all hyped for the next season. But the break between the season 10 finale and the season 11 premiere is definitely going to be shorter than we're used to. As for how much shorter, I'm not sure, because I don't know if the season 10 premiere is going to be airing in October, or a season 11 premiere, sorry. I don't think that's going to be airing in October. They might postpone it a whole entire year, or maybe they just have it in November, and then all the Walking Dead content we were expecting this year just happens later on, sort of thing. And that really sucks, because imagine that. Imagine if all this never happened. We would have had the season 10 finale 2 days ago, and also the season 1 premiere of World Beyond, The Walking Dead World Beyond. We'd be talking about episode 2 this Sunday. We would have so much to talk about still. But I'm sure we're going to be talking about this for a while. On the whole thing on like, will there be multiple deaths? I think there will be, only because like this season, there hasn't really been a lot of deaths. I mean, there has been, I guess, but no big characters. Like we had Sadiq who died, and then we had Gamma. Alpha, I guess, was the big one. Alpha, definitely, that was the big character death. And not every season has to have a big, oh no, it kind of has to. Like, this is kind of the weird thing. Like, I haven't talked about this so much, but I remember this always being the thing. Before I ever did YouTube or anything like that, when I just watched the show, I remember people always saying, and like my family and friends and all that, like, we would argue on whether or not there had to be a death. Like, oh, this episode, oh, that was so boring. There was no deaths. Or the season would end and there would be no deaths or something like that. Or maybe 3 episodes went by and no one died or something. And you would get into these arguments like, oh, you're not a true fan of the show if that's all you want. If all you want are just deaths, then yeah, maybe go find another show or something like that. But I do think that's kind of a legit question, though. Like, does there have to be deaths in a season of a show like that? Or I guess on The Walking Dead in general for it to be, I guess, considered not bad? I definitely think so. You know, especially with this show, obviously this doesn't apply to other TV shows because other TV shows, it's, you know, it really depends on the nature of the television show. With The Walking Dead, you have dead in the title. You are expecting deaths. It doesn't have to happen in the finale. It doesn't have to happen in the premiere or the mid-season finale or the mid-season premiere. But you do have to have those bigger moments like that. You do have to kill off bigger characters. And I do think it sucks because at certain points, like certain characters become fan favorites to the point that you can't kill them off. Therefore, I think it limits your story because certain characters are just plot proof, right? I definitely think Daryl is that right now, and you can't really fault them for that because like a lot of people would stop watching if they kill Daryl off. And that's just because of where they're at, right? Like they're almost 11 seasons in. If they killed Daryl off in season 2 or 3, I don't think people would care too much. It'd be really sad, but that'd be kind of cool. There was a certain point there, and I think it was around season 5 to 7, 5, 6, 7. It was around there where you just couldn't touch certain characters anymore. If you wanted the story to go on until the end, then you have to keep some sort of connection to the beginning, because if the connection to the beginning of the story is gone, then the ending doesn't really matter. And Daryl and Carol and Michonne's still out there, Rick is still out there, Maggie's coming back, right? We still have this connection to the beginning, and we have Judith, who's kind of a connection to Lori and Shane, Herschel, like Maggie's son, who's a connection to Glenn and Maggie. Like, there's still all of these connections to the beginning, and that's why a lot of these characters just won't go. Because when they end the story in that final season, then a lot of these characters can die, and expect that. Expect the final season of The Walking Dead to kill off some of these characters. We might get Maggie's death or Daryl's death. It is going to happen. It's just until that point, you have to have these characters live on for a while. So that's why you kind of come into these issues where it's like, oh, Daryl, like they'll never kill him off sort of thing. But they will one day. I definitely don't see him surviving the entire series. And so for the other characters and some of the characters that I do expect to die in the season 10 finale, you can't really get mad at them for killing off these people because I think that's one of those issues that, like, if you're a writer on this show, you kind of run into a lot. Because it's like, if I kill this character off, people are going to get really pissed off. If we kill this person off, you might be put into a position where you have to weigh whether or not we should kill this person off. Because if we do that, people will be really angry and, you know, and so forth. The best thing to do is just completely ignore it and just choose who you think is going to die at that point. And I think Angela Kang for sure has done that. And even Gimple, I would say, definitely did that. I mean, Carl's death, right? Carl's death, that should not have happened, but he just went with his gut with that, and he wanted to make that choice. He knew the fan reaction would be really bad, I'm sure, and he was just like, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna do that. So it really is just such a weird thing. It's hard to make that choice as to who you're gonna kill off, and I do think there has to be deaths, and I think in the season 10 finale, there has to be multiple, just because the Whisperer War in general, when you look back at this entire season, the second half definitely was, I think, my favorite part. The first half was all right. It was very slow, though. I would say my least favorite episode of the season, for sure, was probably the Beta and Alpha standalone episode, just because it wasn't really needed too much. Like, I enjoyed it. Some great Alpha and Beta stuff there, but what we got in that episode, we learned a lot about Beta, you know, since then. I mean, the episode where Beta found out that Alpha died, like, we learned so much about that character just in that episode alone. More than we did in episode 2. So this season so far, in terms of just having the Whisperer War, I think it's not underwhelming, like definitely by far. I would say it's about average to a little bit of above average, but if you want to have that big impact, I think you have to have multiple deaths, and this way you can look at this entire season and be like, wow, all of this built up to that. And that's definitely, I think, what their plan was, and I think that's why it sucks the finale got postponed, because if the deaths that we were expecting, like Gabriel happens, or if someone else gets Andrea's death, if that all happens in the finale, and maybe Beta dies, and the Commonwealth is introduced, Maggie returns, and all of that. I mean, we all saw how exciting the trailer was, right? But then it's like this full circle thing. And then all of season 10 makes a lot of sense. Everything built up to the moment. And then it's just a really great season of The Walking Dead, right? So I do think there's going to be multiple deaths. I think Gabriel definitely is a character that will die. They're really hinting at it. And if it didn't happen, I wouldn't be mad at all, obviously. But if it didn't happen, I'd be a little shocked. Like, you really hinted at that. You really played the fans for that moment, which I guess is fine, right? Obviously, that's what you want to do. If you know that there's comic fans waiting for certain moments to happen, you can definitely change what they were expecting there. And then, as long as it makes sense and it's just not doing it for the sake of doing it. But yeah, besides Gabriel, I mean, I think someone for sure is going to die in, like, the group there with Luke, Jules. There's a few others from Oceanside, and like Daryl, Carol. They're all wearing those hoods and all that, and they're all covered in like walker guts. They're going through that walker horde. Someone there is dying for sure. There's no way, like, I'm not exactly sure where they're trying to go. They might be trying to divert that horde somewhere else, but someone is going to die there. There's no way they're going to film a scene like that where they're all going through and they make it out, especially with Whisperers there. So someone's dying here. Jules could be someone that dies. I don't think so, though, but that's possible. Or it could be other people from Oceanside. That is most likely going to be the case. It's going to be like Luke, Jules, or others from Oceanside. I don't think it's going to be Luke. Jules, potentially, because they were kind of hinting at something with Luke and Jules, but I'm not exactly sure. Definitely some people from Oceanside, I think. I can't remember exactly who was there. And then all the other ones, I mean, they're all safe. Like Carol, Daryl, they're definitely safe. As for who's going to get Andrea's death, that's kind of the big one. And that really depends on if they do that in the season 10 finale. They might completely ignore that moment, which I definitely would hate, because I think that moment was a big defining moment in the comic that definitely changed the story for Rick going forward. And I just keep thinking, if they kill Connie off in the season 10 finale, that would really destroy Daryl, to the point where in season 11, he would be all upset and like depressed and sleeping at her grave and all that. He would be taking Rick's story from the comic, because that happens at this exact point, like right after the Whisper War ends. So we'll see. I mean, I think there's going to be multiple deaths, and I think if you combined what Denise Huth, like the producer for The Walking Dead, like what she was saying, that not everyone's going to make it out, there's definitely going to be some deaths, and I will do a death predictions video at some point. Like, I want to do like a final one. I'm not sure on certain characters, but I want to make a final one where I include all the people. I'll choose like out of 5 people, I think. I'll rate it based off of, I don't know, I'll give it some kind of rating. Like Gabriel for sure is going to be in that list. But let me know what you guys are all thinking about all of this. Do you think there's going to be multiple deaths? And also, does there have to be deaths in this finale? If there's no deaths in this finale at all, would that be okay? Post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.